This is what people see when they meet me. And this is what they see if you happen to be standing behind me in the checkout aisle. This scarf that I have worn every time I've left the house since the 6th grade is called a hijab. I usually wear a white hijab, and my preferred style is tucked in, just like this. Wearing a hijab is part of my faith. It's a symbol of humility, and it identifies me as a Muslim woman, a title I wear proudly. For many people, my hijab might inspire assumptions, questions, confusion. Why does she wear that? Is she forced to wear that? I bet she's from somewhere really oppressed. Well, I was born and raised in Urbana. So not really. And when I made the decision to follow my faith and wear hijab, my mother threw me a hijab party. So every day when I leave the house, I put a scarf over my hair, I choose to wear long sleeves, and I wear long pants or a dress. No one can force that, not here. The irony is that while you may think my scarf makes me mysterious or hidden, I think you get to see more of me than what you might see of a lot of other women. I don't get to hide behind big hair or big makeup. What you see is what you get. Hashtag no filter. It lets people see past my physical appearance and get to know the real me. It's still odd to me, having lived here my entire life, that I still sometimes get treated like an immigrant. And when I travel to the Middle East to visit my family in Iraq, I get treated like a foreigner there too. So where does an Arab, American, Iraqi, Muslim woman fit in? I am the only Muslim Arab American in almost every room I find myself, or at least one of the few. That's improved a lot in the last 20 years. But growing up, my peers and I were different, and we felt it. We were making accommodations, like we were the only kids taking off Eid from school, and we'd avoid pepperoni pizza in the cafeteria. We were the children of U of I international students, so we came from highly educated families, but our paths were not clear. We had no guidance on how to make it in this country, and there was certainly no Muslim representation anywhere, unless you were looking for a terrorist in a Hollywood movie. I decided in high school to become an attorney, even though I had not yet met a Muslim attorney. I graduated from the U of I's law school in 2007, and I added the title of attorney. Thank you. I am the third Muslim to practice law in Champaign, and to date, I am the only hijabi lawyer. I'm now established enough in my practice to where I can ignore that my faith or my culture might make me look different. However, I sometimes play this imaginary scenario in my mind where I go to the lobby of my law firm to greet a new client for the first time. They take one look at me and walk out. Fortunately, it's never happened. But there have been struggles. One of the first times I went to the courthouse, I was shadowing a senior attorney, and I was stopped for a security check just like everyone else. But unlike anyone else, I was asked to remove my business jacket, and I couldn't because I was wearing short sleeves underneath. I asked to go somewhere private, I asked to be inspected by a woman, and I was turned down flat. And I missed court that day. I stuck around long enough and talked to a lot of people to make sure this never happened to me or anyone else ever again. We're on good terms now, and I have a lot of respect for the folks at the courthouse. But to this day, when I go out of town to a new courthouse, I wear long sleeves under my business jacket just until I get a feel for the place. I never saw myself as a trailblazer. That happened by accident. I was just trying to figure out how to juggle all of my titles: Muslim, Arab, Iraqi, American, daughter, sister, friend, community member. Over time, I was blessed to add the title of wife and mother to my son Yusuf and daughter Miriam. It feels like that should be enough to complete my story, but those titles, they kept coming. In October of 2018, my husband got one of those phone calls that tears a family's peace to shreds in an instant. Your imaging is in. You need to return to the hospital right now. We're waiting for you. And so we took off, and he got the title of patient, and I got the title of caregiver. I dropped all my other titles. My person was on the line. My parents took my children for the better part of a year. My law partners and our staff covered my practice. I did the best I could with the titles, with all the other titles, but I was my husband's caregiver first and foremost. And he got better, and he rang a bell, and we celebrated. But the cancer did come back. This one time, we were at a hospital for the millionth time that he'd been admitted, and at this point, he was a skeleton. He had stopped eating and he had stopped drinking as a result of his treatment. And so he had stopped moving and he had stopped talking. He just laid in bed. And my phone rang. I got a call asking me to present at That's What She Said. What a cool honor, I thought. But how could I even consider something like that? My life is not about me. I said I needed time to think about it. And I knew Saeb would have his concerns too. He is the most private person I have ever met. He gets upset when I post on Facebook. As I told Saeb about the phone call, wouldn't you believe it, he sat up. He rocked a little bit. He was clearly thinking about it, feeling it. Would you have to say bad words, he asked me. No, I can say whatever I want, but I shouldn't do it. What would I even talk about? He raised his arms up in the air and he said, "Talk about this." This had been so hard, and he had been through so much, and he handled it with strength, patience, humility, even grace. And I was so moved by his reaction that I vowed I would do this one day, but not right away. We had way too much on our plates. But I never forgot the magic of that moment. He was giving me permission to stand up and be celebrated, to take the spotlight for just a moment. I stand here today to honor him and his wish. About a year later, almost to the day, I buried my husband, and I traded in the title of caregiver for widow. I know people die of cancer, but there is no way the mind can prepare the heart for a loss that big. The depth and vulnerability of grief took the power away from all my other titles. I lost my place in the world. If I'm not a wife, should I be a mother? And what do I do with all the tasks assigned to father? My eyes have been opened to a kind of grief that sneaks up into every aspect of your life, from renaming your emergency contacts to being in charge of everything. The oil changes, negotiating the internet bill, all the doctor's appointments, and always doing the dishes. Always. I am not far enough away from my grief to have completely found myself yet. I relive my husband's death in my mind daily. I visit the cemetery regularly, and it's not the kind of thing every 38-year-old woman does on a Sunday morning. I love my people, and I feel their love. But everything feels so temporary. The trauma of big loss is that it takes away your certainty. I have amazing young children, wonderful parents who live across the street from me, siblings who tolerate my Wordle shares, a list of friends that never lets me feel lonely. And because of them, my faith, and a stubborn fighter inside of me, I am learning to honor all of my titles.